Technology is constantly evolving, but AI is doing more than just evolving the industry. It is revolutionizing the way developers write code. ChatGPT is, well, it's a chat application, but it has been trained on a vast amount of code from various programming languages, and it can assist you with your projects. I am Jeremy McPeak with Envato Tuts Plus. In this video, we will explore the possibilities of using ChatGPT to assist us as we write software. But first, if you're ready to take your applications to the next level, then look no further than Code Canyon, the ultimate marketplace for developers and programmers. With a vast collection of meticulously crafted code snippets, plugins, scripts and templates, and so much more. Transform your project with the unmatched resources available on Code Canyon today. Using ChatGPT to generate code is kind of like the process of writing code. We start with an idea, and as we implement that idea, it evolves as we go. Now, using ChatGPT is very different than typical development because we don't spend our time in our code editor writing code. Instead, we are in ChatGPT. We are chatting with a chatbot. We are giving it instructions. It is going to give us a response, and then based upon that response, we will either be done with our project or we will need to give it more instructions. So what I want to do is create just a simple calculator. It will be in the web page. It will, of course, have the numbers, have the operator buttons, so that it will closely represent the physical calculators that we have all grown up using, or at least I grew up using. And so with that in mind, it's very important that this first prompt has the majority of information that we need ChatGPT to have, such as what we want to create and how we want to create it, because a lot of that information is going to essentially prime the AI with what it is that we want to achieve. So create a calculator application that we can put into a web page. And that's not going to be enough. We need to specify how it is going to look. So the UI will resemble a typical calculator where the numbers and operators are in a grid. And that might be enough. However, sometimes when you tell ChatGPT to generate code, especially if it's for the web, it might do so in different stages, so that there would be a code snippet for the HTML, another snippet for the CSS, another snippet for the JavaScript. What I want is to have all of that into a single file so that we can just copy and paste and we would be good to go. So let's say to put everything into a single file, or let's say a single HTML file. And so let's see what that gives us. All right, so let's take a look at the code. We, of course, have our HTML, then we have some CSS, and then it generated the markup using a table, which it's fine with me. Don't get me wrong, I'm fine with this. There are some people that would scoff at this and say, no, you shouldn't be using a table for this. But one thing I think is more glaring is the use of the on-click event handlers. Now, once again, that's fine. If we copy this and paste it into a web page, which let's go ahead and do that. This should work without any issue whatsoever. So let's take a look. We have our calculator. It even colored the operators a different color. I'm not necessarily wild about this, but it indeed does work. Divided by 2 equals, and there we go. Did I multiply or divide? I don't know. So it works. I'm not wild about how it looks. So let's see if we can fix that. Use CSS for the grid. Don't use tables. We can also go ahead and tell it to use event delegation, because I would prefer to use event delegation instead of individual on-click event handlers. So let's see what that's going to do. A lot of times you can provide as many instructions that you want inside of a single prompt, and that's fine. There are other times you don't. And unfortunately, there's really no hard and fast rules as to when you should or you shouldn't do that. But we'll see how this is going to handle that. You know, this is a natural language AI. This is supposed to be like we are talking with an individual person. So we should be able to give it instructions as if we were talking to each other and everything should work. Notice that the table is now gone, so that's good. We're still using on-click event handlers, which I do not want. I want to use event delegation. So it didn't take that into account. Let's see, apologies for the oversight. Here's an updated version of the calendar using CSS Grid and event delegation instead of tables. So it got a little confused as to what I was wanting. But here, calculator, event listener, click, it is using event delegation, it looks like. Text content. Yeah, it's using event delegation, but for whatever reason, it still has the on-click event handlers. So let's tell this to remove the on-click event handler attributes, and we will have this generated once again. So let's take a look at the resulting markup. That looks a lot better. Now we just have these data value attributes, which it needs in order to know what to use as far as the number or the operator when we click on those things. Okay, so let's copy this code and let's take this to our code editor, which we will then go to the browser. Let's refresh. That looks a lot better now. So if we try this again, 1 plus 2 equals 3. Okay, let's take a look at what happens whenever we click on the equal sign. So data equal, and I have a feeling that that was an error because yes, right here for our click event listener, it is getting the value of the data set if it is set to equal. Yes, that is wrong. And ChatGPT will sometimes be wrong. So if we change that to data value, that should make that work. We will need to tell ChatGPT that there is an issue there. But by fixing that, everything looks good. Clear is not working either. So if we take a look at the events listener for that, that's going to call clear result, which I don't understand why that, because the global click event listener is still coming into play there. So there's a couple of things we need to fix here. Data equal attribute needs to be data value. So the data equal attribute needs to be data value. Also use data value attribute for the clear button. So once again, it will generate our code. All we have to do is wait to see what the response is going to be, and we will try that out as well. Now, if we take a look here, it fixed the data equal attribute, so that's good. We have data value for the clear button. But once again, I don't think this is going to fix our issue because we still are taking this global click event listener, and it is going to try to pass clear to append value. So there needs to be another check here, but we can fix that on our own. Let's copy this. Let's make sure that this is going to work as we thought it would, at least for the most part. You know, once again, I don't need it to be perfect. I just need it to be close. There's not an add button. there's not an add button. Why isn't there an add button? Did I miss it? No, it is not there. Okay, so the add button is missing, which once again, we could do this manually because I think I'm to a point that I could take this and start running with it. But you know, one of the things about using AI tools is that you will very rarely get the same result. So if we were to open up another chat and try this whole thing again, we would probably get different code completely. That's one of the things about AI is that it's really unpredictable, at least as far as what we have to work with right now. We can get something that would be similar to what we've done in the past, but we will never get the same exact results. I mean, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I've done this 5 or 6 times, and I've gotten a different UI using different code, a different grid, a different everything. It has never been the same once. And even when I use this in my projects, I never get the same result twice. So with that, I'm not even looking at the code. Okay, so the plus sign is back, the equals works, the clear does not, because we knew that that was going to be an issue. But once again, that is something that we can fix on our own, because I don't mean to keep repeating myself, but this is at a point to where I can take this and I can start running with it. It's done all of the hard work for me, which if I were to write all of this out, it would take a little bit longer. But now let's say that, okay, I want this as a React component. Well, that's fine. We can say convert it to a React component. Now, I'm not set up to run that as an actual React component, but we are going to see that it is going to create a React component for us. And based upon that JavaScript code, it looks like it would work just fine. Append value. It's appending the value for the operators. So it looks like that would work without any issue. Now, as you've seen, using ChatGPT isn't a once and done solution. In fact, it's far from it. You will very rarely get exactly what you want from the start, and really, you will rarely get exactly what you need, but you will get close. And as long as you get close to what you're after, well, that's worthwhile in my book. I can personally attest to how ChatGPT has helped me with some of my projects, and I know that it will help you too. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you found it helpful, and be sure to subscribe to the Envato Tuts Plus channel so that you won't miss out on any of our new and fantastic content. I'm Jeremy, and I will see you next time.